Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Welcome back to Tunji Talks. Today, we're talking about the work-life balance. Work-life balance is defined as the division of one's life and focus between work and family or leisure. Now, does work-life balance exist? Let's explore. So we're going to start off with Adam, who's a contributor on the PBD podcast. Let's take a look.
Buddy, forget about a work-life balance. You better work. You know, the way that I operate is I like doing the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. 80% of my life I spend working, reading, strategizing, improving, and then 20%, yeah, I'd like to enjoy life a little bit. But if you want to have success in your life, if you want to find meaning in your life, you got to work your tail off. Last point, you know, they say, should you follow the passion or should you follow the money? Well, neither. Follow what your talent is, what you're good at. If you double down at that, the money will come, and you're also going to get passionate about it because you're good, because they say that competence will turn to confidence. So this whole conversation about turnover and regrettable turnover and people feeling stuck, if you follow what you're good at, the rest will fall into place.
They write some takeaways. So I thought it was interesting that Adam divides his time 80-20, so 80% working, 20% leisure. Then let's break that down further. So when he said working, there were subcategories. So in that, he said working, reading, strategizing, and improving. So I think that's an aspect that more people can incorporate into their work for sure. And of course, when it comes to work-life balance, I don't think social media helps the issue, because one thing with social media is there is endless comparison, and that's not healthy for anyone. And that time you're spending on social media, it could be spent on doing work or leisure. So I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, and I needed to find a link to pro wrestling. So we're going to listen to Triple H. Triple H is effectively runs the WWE, and this is his take on work-life balance.
How do you balance your personal life and work life? It's like I said earlier, it's a grueling schedule, and it's an incredible family you have.
People bring that up a lot. Like, it's one of the things outside of, industry talk. People ask me all the time, like, hey, how do you do work-life balance? And what, tell us about work-life balance. Work-life balance, a load of crap. There is no such thing. When you do the best you can, just like every single parent does, just like every single person out there that has to make ends meet and work multiple jobs and be gone. And when you're at work, you feel guilty you're not with your kids. When you're with your kids, you feel guilty you're not doing something for work. The biggest thing you try to do, just like everybody else, is make it work. And I think for me, the biggest reminder is to be present wherever I am. If I'm working, I'm working. If I'm with my kids, I try to turn off everything else and just be with my kids and dedicate that time to them. It's not about the amount of time, it's about the quality of time. And so, you do the best you can with it, but it's not, there's no magic formula where you go like, oh, I have perfect work-life balance.
Right, so some takeaways. Triple H says that work-life balance is a load of crap. Interesting. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Also like the idea that you need to make the most of the time you have, and this idea of like being present in whatever you're doing. I think the last idea that really resonated with me is the following: that it's not about the quantity of time, it's truly about the quality of time you spend with the people who are most important to you. So you may have heard of Dave Ramsey. I've covered Dave Ramsey here on the channel before. He usually deals with money issues. However, someone wrote in asking about work-life balance. So in this clip, we've got Dave Ramsey and Dr. John Maloney, who are giving their take on work-life balance.
27 years old, engaged to be married, and we have a young son. I own an IT consulting business that last year made $130,000 in profit after paying all expenses, including my salary. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that help my career and financial growth, but I feel stuck. I've been putting more thought into what I want to do with my life, and I realize I'm sacrificing a lot of time with my family. I want to slow down, regroup, and regain focus on my life, but that feels impossible with all my work responsibilities. The other day I saw how happy my son was when I was able to clear my schedule and pick him up from school. It truly made me question a lot of my past decisions. I want to change, but I'm afraid that means I wasted a lot of time growing something just to shut it down. Is there such thing as a work-life balance? What do you think, Dave?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer this.
Well, I'll go backwards. No, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's not real. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. There are seasons.
Right.
And there's seasons of madness and wildness. Right now, we are on the road. I'm writing another book. I am all over the place. And so back in September, or maybe it was August, my wife and I sat down and mapped out the next 4 months. And we knew it was going to be bananas. And we have built in touch points all through that time because we knew. And when the kids ask for stuff, yeah, it stinks. And it's also part of it. And because of this season, it's going to allow for a different season on the other side of this thing. So, no, there's not such thing as work-life balance. There's being honest about what season we're in. Sometimes you wear a coat because it's winter, and other times you wear shorts because it's the summer. Same thing when it comes to your life. I can tell you right now, Joseph, your kid was really happy to see you. If you picked him up every single day, in about a week and a half, he'd be really tired of seeing you. That's just the way that works, man. Those moments are special or great.
Your dog's happy to see you every night because I don't even know you've been gone. So what we don't have in this email or this, however it came in, is what the number of hours you're putting in and what your long-term goal is and those kinds of things, okay? In general, the idea that I don't want to work much so I can play with my kid is not going to work well with you long-term, okay? In general. No one in the equation is going to respect or like you at the end of that story.
So straight away, Dr. John Maloney came out and he said, yeah, work-life balance, it does not exist. Talked about that there are seasons in life. And I think that's a really great analogy, that there are seasons of tranquility, then there are seasons of absolute chaos, for sure. In this clip, as the clip goes on, I think, again, the idea of comparison is creeping in. And I think it's really important that we stop comparing ourselves to others and we just truly focus on ourselves and the people that are most important to us. I've given you 3 case studies, but what is my take on the work-life balance situation? I recently read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Phenomenal book. And in this book, Schwartz didn't address work-life balance. However, he talked about the ability to manage your time. And what he really suggests is sort of making a timetable. And when you make a timetable, you stick to it. So for instance, like when you come home from work, maybe you spend every night 7 to 8, you spend with the kids, 9 to 9:30, you do like a bit of self-improvement sort of work, that sort, etc. Maybe Thursdays date night, maybe Fridays like family night where you all go out, that sort of thing. Then he also talks about the idea that when the weekends come around, some people waste it by just sleeping in. Then when you're up, you're like, oh gosh, where's the day gone? Where he's very much like, you need to plan your days, and especially if you know you've got some free time coming up in like 2 months, for example. He's a huge proponent of timetabling that time so you make the most of the time you have. This is a technique that has worked for me. You may want to try it. Let me know if you do down below in the comments. I know with teachers, for example, when they get summers, they've got like 6 weeks, 6-7 weeks off sort of thing. And I've been around conversations with teachers and I've heard one say like, oh, I got bored during the holidays. That can never, with this technique, that can never happen. You can never get bored because you're always doing something that is planned. And of course, you've got to allow the fluidity of life to happen. Like if an event comes up that you really like and you're free, yeah, why not go to that? And since we're on the issue of work-life balance, if you're really fascinated about this subject, this topic. On Apple TV Plus, there's a show called Severance, and that explores the idea of work-life balance, that these individuals have a procedure done to them where their sort of like personality is separated. So when they're at work, they have no idea what their home life is like, and when they're at home, they have no idea what their work life is like. And I find that's such a fascinating show. At the end of this video, I'm going to leave a link to my take on Severance. So click that link after this video is finished. But yeah, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below. Bye-bye.